Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Fringe Coverage. This podcast profiles the story, swings, and stars of the LPGA Tour. And whether you're new to women's golf or a longtime fan, hopefully this podcast helps you develop your own rooting interest in women's professional golf. And we now live in a world where the fifth major of the year did not go to Nelly Korda. It did not go to Hate on You. It went to Shiho Kuwaki, is your winner of the fifth and final major of the year, the AIG Women's Open out of Royal Lytham. Here to help me break it all down in something that I'm sure we both had on our bingo card, my buddy Tom. Tom, how you doing, man?
Good, Mark. I got to watch a little bit of this. I was in Florida for the last few days. Took the family out there. You know, every so often we'll take them someplace to make them really appreciate what living in San Diego is all about. A lot of thunderstorms, which means a lot of indoors, which means some LPGA viewing. So worked out all right. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You know, we're going to talk a lot today about the tournament, about some of the news that came out of the LPGA. Let's get the personal stuff covered at the top. We're going to play some golf tomorrow. I'm really excited just to get an early round. We're going to go play a par 3 course at like 6 a.m. tomorrow to sit and get a full round of golf in before the workday even starts. Is tomorrow going to be one of those? I know you've been battling some sickness here. Is tomorrow your flu game? Are you going to start making excuses? What should I expect tomorrow?
I'm going to be going out, just pin hunting. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I haven't played, I think since the last time you and I spoke. I played all right, played over at a full 72 a couple of weeks ago, and my wedges are looking great. My driver's not the best, but not going to need that too much tomorrow. So,
no, yeah. You got to be able to hit 9 irons and wedges tomorrow on the course we're playing. So, are you giving me strokes?
I truly don't even remember the last time I beat you at a round of golf. So, no, I don't think you're getting anything. I think you and I are fairly even now. I kind of fluctuate back and forth, and you're just steady as can be. So no, I think you and I we're just going to go out there and have a good round together.
Must be convenient to be the better golfer and not give strokes.
Would you accept strokes if I gave them to you?
That wasn't the question, Tom. No, heck no. Until one of us completely separates, and I don't know if it's my ego or what, but I mean, it's just more fun to play straight up, and I don't want to have to remember what holes you're stroking on anyways. Like, no.
Couldn't agree more.
So, more to come on that. We'll break that down in next week's episode. So, a quick run of show. We'll talk about the AIG Women's Open. We'll talk about some of the news that came out from the Solheim Cup this week, as well as some tournament notes for the upcoming 2027 season. We do have an off week this week. There is no tournament this coming week. There's a break between now and the Portland event, which we will preview next week. So, we mentioned at the top, we had a very unexpected winner at the 50th AIG Women's Open. Round one, Gino Titakun comes out firing, and I am just giddy. I think you sent me a text message immediately just with Gino with exclamation points. We're cooking with fire. Round two, the lead shifts to Hate on You, and we're like, oh my gosh, is she going to win 3 in a row? And she did it pretty effortlessly. Round 3, we get a Yelimi No sighting, and just as a reminder, I dropped Yelimi No for Hate on You, so I was like, man, I love that Yelimi felt inspired by me dropping her. I'm going to take credit for that and wanting to make her way back onto my team. And going to Sunday, Yelimi has a 3-shot lead going into the final round. And Royal Lytham, let's just say this from the jump, played awesome. It was firm. It was there wasn't really that windy, was maybe the one bummer, but I'm not sure what this tournament would have turned into if there was wind, because I mean 5 under won this golf tournament, and that was with limited conditions. One day had a little bit of 20-mile-an-hour winds, but the rest was really, by British Open standards, pretty sedate. But man, round 4 was just carnage. It's been a while since I've watched a men's or women's tournament that had just, everyone was kind of just stuck in neutral. No one really made I was half expecting to turn it on and someone has made an early round charge. Someone went 4 under on the front 9 and climbed their way to the leaderboard. Everyone was just kind of hovering around par for the day. Yelimi gave up the lead early. She did not have it on Sunday, which was a bummer. I was so excited to see Yelimi. Yelimi is on the Solheim Cup team watch list and probably someone that is going to get an auto spot because of her season last year, but she's been in the wilderness this year, so I was just surprised to see her. But no one really got it going. everyone had a shot at some point. Somehow, with, I don't know, 7, 8 groups left, Nelly was the clubhouse leader, and we barely saw, I don't know if I saw a single shot of hers for a while. So she gets into the clubhouse early at 2 under. Tom, throughout your watching, did you find yourself pulling for anybody?
I was definitely rooting for Gino after round one. It'd be really nice for her to get that monkey off her back. During the round 4 coverage, which is what I watched the most of, I was really pulling for Yalimi. I felt like it was every time they would zoom in on her, like she looked frantic almost, and like kind of scared. I don't want to say scared, but like
the body language.
Yeah, it was kind of tough to watch because even, when she was coming down the 18th, like she made a bad shot, she kind of knew it was slipping away, and you could see like her kind of welling up a little bit. And just, I mean, you hate to see that. She's so young, and you just kind of I was rooting for her. I was while watching, I was really trying to. I wanted to come up with a name for a tournament where there was a new leader after each day. And I wish there was some way to figure out, I'm sure I can Google it, how often that actually happens.
Very common, most tournaments.
That seems odd to me. I don't know. I mean, I definitely like watching from a viewer standpoint. I think it's best to have the winner come from the final group. Like, I actually want to see somebody who, we watch them from 1 to 18 and actually be the last player on the course to close it out. That's always a little bit more exciting to me than watching somebody in a clubhouse watching TV.
Sure.
I'm watching somebody watching TV. But yeah, I felt for Yalimi. That was tough for her.
I had a tough time figuring out who I was rooting for when it came to Sunday, because obviously Sunday just feels like, what's Charlie going to do? So immediately I'm thinking, where is she going to make her run? I found myself very interested in the Charlie and Lottie storylines all week. Obviously, with it being in Northwest England, there's a direct tie there for those two. Gino's round 1. I mean, she went low. She shot 64 round 1. I mean, so what is that? She shot 7 under. She shot 7 under round 1. 5 under won this tournament.
Yeah.
Like, she just, I really thought there was something different. Shame on me. Like, again, it's Gino. Gino has good rounds in majors. Gino has not yet strung 4 together. But normally I find myself with a pretty firm rooting interest in someone, and I found myself thinking of this like a traditional men's British Open of like, I kind of just want to see the train wrecks, and I just want to see people fight their way through this course. Again, we previewed this. There's 175 bunkers on this course, and we saw so many of them, so much so that even NBC, who does not have the best TV coverage, let's just get ahead of that, they were putting together montages of some of the weirdest bunker shots, people up against the lip. There was a shot of someone hitting a bunker shot, then having to dip their head to get all the sand out of their hair. Like, it was quite literally a day at those beach. Tom, I'm not sure we break 150 on that course after watching Sunday.
I mean, there were actually clips of people during the practice rounds just, dumping balls into the bunker and trying to hit out of them, like one leg in the bunker, one leg on the grass, trying to do like the craziest acrobatic shots. I mean, yeah, 150. That's I would take that going into that round.
The best bunker clip I saw was 2 or 3 times over the course of the week. Hate on You quite literally putted her ball to a different spot in the bunker so she could have a shot. Like, she didn't even try to get out on the first one. She was up against the lip and had no shot, so she took the blade of her wedge and literally dinked it, ostensibly what was like 2 feet, to be in the center of the bunker to now have a shot. Like, when you're just giving up on the first shot and don't have an out and you're just trying to put yourself in a position, that is a real bunker. That is a real sand trap that has a hazard attached to it, as opposed to here in the States. I mean, the men and women are expected to get up and down. Like, it's not penal. So I love seeing just the steepness of all of that. I will never not be fascinated by how good they are out of those bunkers.
Just being able to have the mental fortitude to just take your medicine.
Oh.
Like, yes, take the stroke. Not every shot needs to be toward the pin. You can be smart about this and do it 90 degrees or even go backwards if that's what's going to lead to the better score on the hole. Just swallowing your pride and saying, not this time. Let me, I'll lose the battle and win the war.
And for those of you that are curious about, we have an interview coming out with Maya Stark here in a week or two, and we interviewed Maya right after the AIG, and she was even saying, like, she had holes where she was patting herself on the back for the good bogeys she made. So to your point, like, when you get yourself out of position, you have to be able to make the assessment of whether or not it's worth the risk. And honestly, some of that happened down the stretch here. So
I was texting you during the round, and I said, my kids keep talking about how brown the course is, and
it's the
you said
best.
you love it.
Yeah. It is what separates this event as the best tournament. It makes it firm and fast. If you see super lush green course, you know what that means? Balls are going to be sticking. It's going to be a dart fest because it's super well watered. If it's baked out and brown, that means that balls are going to be running in fairways through the fairway. So you actually have to control. Yeah, you might hit driver, but you might run out of fairway if you take on that dog leg or whatever it is. You have to shape shots. And if it's green in the fairways, it's probably green on the greens, which means you're going to have some firm, not necessarily fast. These greens weren't that fast, but they were firm, which means that trampoline, that first bounce is so important, which is why you saw 70% of the players purposely hitting the shot short of the green, link style, and having it run onto the green, as opposed to in the States, they're all pin hunting and trying to like make the biggest divot mark possible and have it zip back. That's just not a thing. I'm just fascinated by. That's why I say we wouldn't shoot 150. You and I have no experience with links golf, and I can say with confidence, we would have no idea what to do of like, wait, so this is 140 yards and I'm trying to land this 110. We would have so much trouble, not to mention we have to flight down a wedge so it doesn't get knocked down in the wind. We would be so lost.
That kind of stuff is fascinating to me. It's a different game. It's, you and I come out here, we'll play around in California, in San Diego, and it's just all the exact same. Every course is, you kind of treat the same way, but to go and be able to switch your game because of the weather or because of the grass or the flight, just, forget it.
It is a different sport, isn't it? It goes back to what Olivia Cowan was saying, is like, this is why it's not relatable. Like, just because we are hitting our tee shots the same distance, what we do from there, like, they're just wizards with the way that they go about assessing a shot. Whereas we're like, we see it, we swing it, and we hope that it goes somewhere near the green. We mentioned Shiho Kuwaki won this. Shiho was playing in the third to last group, to your point of not having the drama down the stretch, in the final group. Shiho shot 1 under for the day to get into the clubhouse at 5 under with a couple groups still left on the course, and just played really solid golf. She took her medicine on a couple holes and had birdies when she needed it. She was in the mix for the entire weekend, not a name I was familiar with. She spends most of her time on the Japan LPGA Tour, and she turned pro. She's 23 years old. She turned pro 5 years ago. Had a really good 2024 on the Japan LPGA Tour. Had a win earlier this year. Had been playing well. It's what got her into the AIG. So she gets in the clubhouse at 5 under. Again, we've been seeing competing at some point during the day. We had Esther Henseleit, Yalimi No, Nelly Korda, Gino, Charlie, Wailing C made a early run. She got it, I think, to 4 under for the day, but then she started going backwards. We mentioned Hayden already. Like, a lot of people were flirting with that leader within striking distance, but no one struck. Like, no one got hot. And I think that's just a compliment to Royal Lytham. It really protected the par score really well. So Esther Henseleit was playing in the final group along with Yalimi. Tough pairing when you think about it. When Yalimi, the wheels are falling off, that has to be tough as the playing partner of, like, you're not seeing good golf played and it's probably not inspiring you to play your best golf. But Esther really turned it on the Jets on the back nine, birdied 11, 12, 15, and then so she went into the final hole 1 shot back of Kuwaki, needing birdie. And she plays the hole fine, gives herself probably a 35-footer, and she has to sink the putt. She and Yalimi both have looks. Yalimi actually has a better look at it. She's probably got about 20 feet. Esther's putting first and sinks a bomb to tie the lead, to force a playoff. Yalimi has a chance to join them, does not sniff no hole, doesn't even get it to the hole, which is maybe the worst possible way to miss a putt on 18. Like, you got to get it there. So we now find ourselves with a 2-player playoff between Kuwaki and Henseleit. Tom, they don't have a 3-hole aggregate playoff like the men do. This is another sudden death. You play 18. They were going to continue to play 18, I think, for at least 3 times in a row before they went to another hole on the course. Why they're not playing the first hole, that par 3, I don't know, because I think that would have been magic. That hole played so fun all week, but they end up playing a 2-hole. The first hole, they both par, but Kuwaki made an amazing par save. She put it in the shit off the tee, took her medicine and chipped out, and then had to get up and down from the fairway, stuck it to like 5 feet, nailed the putt, and then Esther kind of had a routine par. They go back to the tee on 18, play a second playoff hole. This man Esther is going to have bad dreams about this for a very long time. So Esther blows it right off the tee on the second playoff hole. Not egregiously. It's well off the fairway. No chance at the fairway. Basically goes to where the spectators are. She gets the worst break of the century. It hits off the volunteer's foot. The ball spotter who's supposed to mark it hits his foot, and it kicks, I mean, dead right, and puts her into one of those horrific gorse bushes that will literally grab your club and never return it type bushes. She was going to be in the rough, but that rough was wispy all week, and we saw all week players get up and down from there. Instead, they've got to zoom in on this ball, and they're like, where is she even going to, can she even get a club on it? She ends up hitting what I thought was maybe one of the best shots I saw all week, just to advance the ball. She hits it dead center fairway. Again, she's not going for the green. She just has to chip out and take her medicine, back to what you were talking about earlier. Meanwhile, Shiho's in the middle of the fairway. Shiho puts it dead center of the green on her approach. Now Esther's in the middle of the fairway, line 2, has to get up and down to save par the way Shiho did on the first playoff hole. She can't save her par. She puts it in the middle of the green, misses her putt. Kuwaki sinks a short 2.5 foot kind of probably knee knocker to win. And all of a sudden, Shiho Kuwaki comes from nowhere and wins the AIG Women's Open, and I'll be the first person to hand up. I had never heard of Shiho Kuwaki before the final round on Sunday, or I guess on Saturday when her name was on the leaderboard, and did not consider her a threat, and shame on me for thinking that, not realizing anyone could win this tournament. But, man, just a finer point on Esther. She played an epic back 9. She had 4 birdies on the back on a day where it wasn't relinquishing that many birdies, and including that bomb on 18. That kick, quite literally, off that volunteer. What do you think Esther goes to bed thinking about that night?
I would hope she goes to bed thinking about that putt, because I mean that putt is maybe not once in a lifetime, but I mean that's like a 5%er, right? You know,
for sure.
The thunderstorms finally cleared up, and my kids are like, "Let's go to the beach." And I go, "Yeah." I mean, once these two miss this putt, we can go to the beach. And then Esther sinks the putt, and they were visibly upset because they wanted to go. Watching her husband as the caddy just like completely lose it, like that's so cool. I even texted you about this. I was very surprised that Kuwaki wasn't out at a range putting or hitting some balls, keeping warm. She was just kind of hanging out back in the green room. You know, all 5 different colors on her nails, just kind of hanging out, like we're living or dying with every hit. And they would cut to her when you see, you know, these long putts, and she's probably like, all right, I got this. Like it's about to happen for me. And then to see Esther sink the putt, and then she has to recompose herself and then go, all right, now I gotta go play some more golf. Really cool for her. I mean, you know, doesn't seem to have much scar tissue, just being so young. She could just go out and go have a good time. Loud clothing, loud fingers, just, you know, out there having a good time. When she won, I mean, you know, I'm gonna go drink whiskey sodas tonight. You know, that's a Tom favorite, so she's climbing up my list, that's for sure. But I would hope that, to answer your question, I would hope that Esther goes away thinking, I made a crazy good putt. I put myself in a position to win. Yeah, bad luck here, but, you know, I still moved up the rankings, got some good money in my pocket. Successful round overall.
Yeah, I mean, she's got to be proud of the way she played down the stretch in contention. Obviously didn't blow it. I mean, like her playing partner that day, Yalimi, you know, who I mean, you got to call this a choke. There are very few people who are bigger fans of Yalimi than me, so I feel comfortable saying it. You got a 3-shot lead in a major. There's an expectation of what you do with it, and she was playing a tough course, and she was going to give shots back. That wasn't the question, but like you said, the body language was really tough to watch. And I don't know, I do feel we're kind of used to a little bit more composure on the women's and men's game than what we saw out of Yalimi. And that doesn't necessarily mean she was doing anything wrong, just the way Yalimi plays golf is she wears her emotions on the sleeve, and she hit a bad drive. You can kind of see her look into the sky and being frustrated with herself. That has to take its toll after a while, especially when the train starts going in the wrong direction for her. That's got to be tough to pull yourself out of it when the course is already beating you up. That week is going to beat you up whether you're the winner or the last place finisher. But she didn't seem to be doing herself any favors in that regard.
But good on her for answering. She went and answered questions after the round, which has to be incredibly tough. So
no doubt.
Props to her for at least, you know, facing the music.
And you know what? We're going to talk about Solheim Cup in a little bit, but as a finer point on Yalimi, she put herself back on our radar, and she was going to be someone that she's going to get an auto qualifying pick because of how good she played in 2025. She's been in the wilderness. She was not playing well. She's dropping super low on the race to the CME. And I was going to be saying she might be an anchor on this team, depending on what they can do. And Angela might have to hide her in certain situations because she's not playing well. To show such great form in arguably the hardest major of the year, in Europe, what a great sign for Team USA as they head to Bernardus in the Netherlands, knowing that Yelimi has turned a corner, hopefully has turned a corner, and saw herself hole some putts, hit some drives, stay in contention. Like she blew the lead, but she was still, she finished solo third, right? Like she didn't launch herself off the leaderboard. So as we look at Shiho, you mentioned her clothing. After researching, again, I'm not going to pretend I knew this prior to this week, but it is what she's known for on the Japan LPGA Tour is her style. So I'm glad that came through for you on the TV. She had some loud green on Sunday. She's 23 years old. She is the 12th woman to not have LPGA status and win a major in history of the LPGA. Only 12 non-LPGA members have gone on to win a major in that same year. And most importantly for Shiho, you'll remember this happened last year, not in a major setting with Human Huang. By winning, she earns LPGA status and is given the option. You'll remember we had this last year, if she can either take immediate LPGA membership and start playing this week at Portland, basically, or she can defer her status to 2027. About a day after the AIG, she made the announcement she is going to defer and basically have the second half kickoff. She will start her LPGA membership this time next year. In other words, she's not ready to uproot her entire life from Japan and move to the States next week and start being a full-time LPGA player, which is all the tournaments from here on out are in the U.S. until they go back to the second Asia swing. So same reason for Human Huang last year. She said, hey, I'm super excited to play in the LPGA. I want that full card to start next year.
Got it. Okay. I was wondering why one would do that. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of a life uprooting thing more than
personal thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. Just kind of get your affairs in order. And I like that they have that option. I think that makes a lot of sense. So you're not forcing it on them. And because it's already going to be a big enough adjustment to go to the LPGA, to put them kind of on their back foot and not have a place to live and have to live Airbnb week by week, it's probably not going to line itself up for good golf. So I'm glad that they have pathways that seem sustainable, is the way I look at it. So some other notables from the week. We mentioned Hayden. Man, did she have a horrible weekend. She shot 66-69 the first two rounds to be your second round leader. And like, candidly, man, I would have gone and put money on her. Despite the fact that she was going for her third major, she just looked like she was playing different sport than everybody else. She shot 74-74 on the weekend and that was very despite all that, was actually on the top of the leaderboard. Had a chance at on Sunday. Man, she's going to be around a while. Hate on stock is probably not a great time to buy right now. It's probably pretty high. I think I'm still buying. I'm very impressed by her. I mentioned Nelly was the final round leader for a little bit, despite seeing maybe 3 shots of her on the broadcast. She shot a final round 68, which I think was the second best round of the day out there. So she finishes T5, kind of a backdoor T5. She wasn't really in contention, although she held the lead. The leader, when she went in she had the clubhouse lead. There were still people that had 3 or 4 shots ahead of her at the time that she was in the clubhouse. But Nelly finishes with another top 10 in a major. We're going to talk about some top 10 finishes across the 5 majors this year. Nelly had a pretty dang good major season. Low Swede does not go to Maya Stark, does not go to Lynn Grant, does not go to Ingrid Lindblad. It goes to Anna Nordqvist, the captain of the European Solheim Cup team, who has said, I'm not going to play, before she went out and finishes with yet another really, really good finish. Where did she finish? She finished T29. Again, someone who's splitting duty and is a month and a half away from leading Team Europe to competing in the Solheim Cup. Really impressed with her form after really good showing at the Scottish 2 weeks ago. And then just something that stuck out to me, man, in the notable others category. Ayaka Fudue shot a 65 on Saturday. I didn't think that course had a 65 to give up any of the 4 days. Like that's nuts. So she's 2 under after Saturday. So going into the final round, she's tied for 8th. She's in the 4th to last group from Lottie. And I realized it took me maybe until the 11th or 12th hole to say, holy crap, I have not seen Ayaka Fudue all day. Like, she's a very well-established name on the LPGA. NBC must be just mailing it in and not doing well. My apologies, NBC. It was not your fault. It was because Ayaka was shooting an 82 on Sunday. She shot 11 over just on that day. Finishing, again, she started the day 2 under, finished 9 over, finishing tied for 53rd. She was top 10 to start the day. And when's the last time you saw someone on a weekend shoot 65-82? A 17-shot differential?
Are we talking bunker trouble?
Honestly, they didn't show a single shot of her round. I could not tell you. But yeah, I bet she may have been in 100 of those 175 bunkers the way those, the way that round obviously shaped up for her. But that's tough. And the last note on NBC I'll say is, this is true of men's or women's tournaments. While I will be the first to rip on TV when it's not good, this had to be really hard to televise when so many people are in contention. Like, you only have so many cameras on the course, and even less on the LPGA than the PGA. When you've got 15 people who could legitimately, going into the back nine, win the tournament still, you can't get a camera on everybody. You can't keep track of who's about to get hot. So yeah, Nelly might birdie a hole to get to 2 under, but at that point, she's still 4 shots back. Little do you know that you don't know that Yalimi's going to still leak oil down the stretch. It has to be hard to figure out how to televise that and ping pong back and forth. So while the coverage was not good and they had some horrific commercial breaks on the 18th hole for the leaders, I will give them a pass on it. Must have been really hard to show everybody shots that were in contention. Some other notes. We talked about how great the course played. This is the second straight Japanese winner of the AIG Women's Open, coming off of Miyu Yamashita last year. Just add Kuwaki to the list of Japanese players that are just here. We're about to go to the Portland Classic where Aki Iwai is the defending champ. Like, this is the Japanese like this stretch of the schedule. So look out there. Maybe most importantly, Esther Henseleit, with that second place, auto-qualified for a Solheim Cup spot. So Esther was already on the short list of a captain's pick. And she might have even got one of the last auto-qualifying spots from Rolex rankings. As a reminder, the top 2 spots for the European Solheim Cup team go to the people that hold the top 2 spots on the LET, the Ladies European Tour. And going into this tournament, that was going to be Charlie Hull and Chiara Tamburlini. Esther, by virtue of her solo second at the AIG, passes Chiara Tamburlini on the LET points list by 0.9 points. Like, Tom, these are hundreds and thousands of points, and she passed her by 0.9. Chiara is not anywhere on the Rolex ranking. She plays full-time on the LET. She gets a ton of points there. Charlie's the leader and barely even plays any LET events. That just shows you how good she is. She cleans up when she's there. Chiara gets knocked out. And as we'll get to, Chiara ends up not making the team at all. And she had an auto spot locked up until Esther went buku bananas on Sunday. So tough way to lose out on a Solheim Cup auto spot for Chiara, and really a spot at all. But congrats to Esther for truly earning her way onto the team.
I'm going to have to do some math to see if that putt, if she missed that putt, if Chiara's on the team.
I don't know if a top 10 would have done it. I don't know if it was the second place that did it, but yeah, that 0.9, I think that you're right. That putt may have very well been the difference. So, and then the last thing we talk about season-long awards. There's obviously a lot of the season left. With the 5 majors done, that does wrap up the Annika Award, which is the top performer in majors. It is strictly, you are given points for each major you finish in, and we knew this was a 2-woman race because Nelly had won 2 and Hayden had won 2, and going into the final major of the year, Nelly had a small 6-point lead over Hayden. Nelly, with that T5, cements her victory over Hayden, so she wins the Annika Major Award, yet another notch in her belt. This does not count towards anything for the Hall of Fame, but yet another award for Nelly.
I was just looking up. I wanted to know. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Nope. But again, still available to her are the VAR trophy, the scoring title for the year, as well as Player of the Year. Both of those would give her a Hall of Fame point. So as would wins in tournaments upcoming. Okay, Tom, I got a game for you here. I was looking at who finished in the top 10 in multiple majors this year. There are 12 players that top 10 in 2 or more majors. I want to see how many of these you can name, and I'm going to help you. There is one player that finished top 10 in 4 of the 5 majors. Who is that?
So Nelly Korda
Yes.
and Hate on You are both on this list.
Correct. So Nelly won 4, or Nelly top 10 in 4 of the 5. There are 3 people that finished top 10 in 3 of the 5 majors. Haydon is 1. Who else finished top 10 in 3 majors?
Charlie?
Yes.
All right.
And you know this other one. It is one of the top players in the world that we give some heat when it comes to majors.
Gino.
Really? Gino has 3 top 10. So again, she's not winning them, but coming off of when she got her heart torn out at Evian last year, she came back this year in top 10 in 3 out of 5. Again, a very non-competitive top 10. While she was the first round leader here, she was not really in contention in any of them from a winning perspective. So those are the 3 that won 3. And then there are, what does that leave? 9 that top 10 in 2. Maya is one of them. So you have 8 more. You want to take any swings? See how long you can go here?
Give me 3 strikes. All right, so we're going to go Hannah Green.
No. I don't think Hannah got any top 10s.
Not an ideal start.
Just think about the tournament you just watched. A hometown favorite. Lottie.
Really?
Okay. Someone.
Hyoju Kim?
No. Remember, Hyoju plays horrible in majors.
She does, yeah.
You got 2 strikes, so let's do some hints before you do any more guesses here.
Help me.
Someone that I picked to win a major this year that we followed at Riviera that is from China. Oh no, Ronning Yin, come on.
I look at my mic muted. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, Tom's mic was muted. Okay, there are 2 players on this list with the last name Kim.
Did
and
Austin make it?
Austin
And Grace? I'm not.
Austin
thinking.
and
Alim Kim?
No, Young.
Jeez.
This game is so easy when you have the answers in front of you, and it's so hard when you have nothing to refer to. Okay, there are 3 more you haven't guessed. One of them we have interviewed on this podcast and is a former major champion.
Allison Corpuz.
Very good. This person lost in a playoff at Evian this year from Canada.
Oh, my pick.
Yeah.
My pick for this week. Brooke Anderson.
And then lastly, ain't no way you're going to guess this, Ina Yoon. Talk about a nice showing for Ina Yoon. So there you go. Those are your 12 players that top 10'd in multiple majors this year. Top 10s in 4 majors for Nelly. No wonder she's your Annika major winner right there, right? Yeah. Like those are just, she's just straight cleaning up. On the flip side of this, I did want to point out the people who missed the cut. Again, this is one of those events where if you don't have it or if you're not good at links golf, you're going to get blown out to sea real fast. Defending champ Miyu Yamashita doesn't make the cut. Gabby Lopez, who'd been hunting majors all year. Somi Lee, Minji Lee, Grace Kim, Ronning Yin, all of them missed the cut. And now, looking ahead to the Solheim Cup, these U.S. Solheim Cup players or candidates all missed the cut. Andrea Lee, Lilia Vu, Jen Kupcho, Megan Kang, Jenny Bay, Allison Corpuz, they all missed the cut. And from the European team, Leona Maguire, Nana Kurtz-Madsen, Lynn Grant, Chiara Tamberlini, Carlota Saganda, and your girl Helen Bream all missed the cut. Like, that's tough. I mean, because remember, this was the final event for qualifying for Team Europe for the Solheim Cup. Missing the cut is not going to be the thing that Coach Nordquist wants to see when she has to make her pick. So unless you got an auto one locked up, if you're Helen Bream, spoiler alert, Helen did not make the team. She was going to have to do something special, I think, at AIG to have got one of those final 4 captain's picks.
And Captain Nordquist is out there just like, it's not that hard. Check this out.
Yeah, come on, guys. I'm T29. Tough look. The Miyu Yamashita one bums me out. I really thought she was going to defend her title well. So you mentioned it. Brooke was your pick. I had Lottie Wode. So head to head, it's funny. I had this written down somewhere. I think Brooke was maybe in the 20s or 30s. Yeah. Where she finished. And Lottie finished top 10 again. So while she's going to be disappointed, I'll take that head-to-head win in the final major of the year. Tom, I'm closing. I don't think there's enough season left, but that 110-point lead you had 3 weeks ago is now down to 40, I think, because you had 3 missed cuts in the major this past week, so you lost 18 points just from those 3 players. Again, had you correctly kept Austin Kim instead of thinking you had Grace Kim, you would have benefited from Austin's great finish instead of Grace missing.
We don't need to mention that every episode.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the goal right now.
We're going to have to do something big for the Solheim Cup.
Yeah, it's going to have to be, we have to figure out how to integrate that to our game. So you mentioned it. Solheim Cup, we are just over a month away. We are going to have a full preview. This is not what we're going to do for the rest of the episode today, but we did want to cover Team Europe because the Monday after the AIG Women's Open, Captain Nordquist made her final 4 picks. So 8 picks were locked up, and then Anna got to pick 4 more. So again, of those 8 auto qualifiers, 2 of them were the top 2 point earners on the Ladies European Tour based on the Rolex based on the LET points list. Those 2 spots go to Charlie Hull and Esther Henseleit. Esther climbed 24 spots in the Rolex rankings this week as well. So really good for her. So that will be Charlie's 8th Solheim Cup. Reminder, folks, this is not an annual event. This is every other year. Charlie's not that old, and this will be her 8th Solheim Cup.
Has she missed one?
I don't think so, no.
Wow.
And I believe the record is 10 or 11 by Laura Davies, so she still has a ways to go to have the European record. The next 6 highest Rolex-rated players got automatic qualification to the European Solheim Cup team. Those 6, Lottie Wode, the number 5 player in the world, Maya Stark, Celine Boudier, Carlota Saganda, Lynn Grant, and Nana Kurtz-Madsen. Note on Nana. Nana gets that final spot. That's where Esther was of the Rolex until Esther stole the LET spot when she knocked out Chiara Tamberlini. Again, Chiara is nowhere to be seen on the Rolex ranking. So Nana, instead of having to fret over whether she'll get a captain's pick, which she probably would have, she gets the auto spot. She gets a call from Anna Sunday night saying, "You auto locked. You don't have to stress anymore." Nice. So she owes Esther probably a drink the next time.
So same thing, that 30-foot putt took it away from Chiara, but hey, Nana benefits from it.
Yep. Okay, Tom. So we've talked about the auto qualifiers. Before we get to Captain Nordquist's picks, which are now public, I want to play a little game with you. So here's what we're going to do. Anna Nordquist has 4 captain's picks at her disposal. So she's going to be looking at all things from who's playing well right now, who's been playing well all season long, who has a good track record in the Solheim Cup, considering all of these factors. I'm going to put you in the captain's seat here, and I'm going to screen share. I'm going to show you what looks to be about 10 different resumes. It'll be the 10 players that are anywhere close to sniffing a pick. And 4 of these are the ones that Anna picked, but that does not make them the correct picks. It just is who Anna went with. So, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you may want to consider as you go through this. I'm going to give you their current Rolex ranking, which remember, that's a rolling 2-year thing. So it could have been weighted heavy from 2025. I'm also going to give you their current 2026 race to CME standing. So what they've done this calendar year. I'm going to show you their performance in all 5 majors, how many cuts they've made, and if they've had any top 10s. I'm going to give you their season of they've made this many cuts, as well as any top 10s, and what they've done in their last 5 events. So in terms of trending, if they're going in the right direction, and additional information that will be provided if they have played in a Solheim Cup in the past, if they have playing experience, and if so, how many cups, and what their current age is. So this will all be on one screen. How are you feeling about this game?
I love this. I'm very excited.
So
I want to see how my picks align with the captains. I'm expecting a Venn diagram of just 100% overlap. Off the top of my head, I would think that the one that intrigues me the most, I want the CME points. That's the one I think I'm going to be weighting the most heavily. Like you said, the Rolex rankings are nice, but if you crushed it 23 months ago, I'm not that interested. I need to know I'm a what have you done for me lately kind of person.
Okay, Tom. So now I've currently got it sorted by Rolex ranking. Where do you want to, what strikes you as you look at this list?
There is only one player with any Solheim Cup experience, and she has 3 appearances on the team.
On the team, player A, currently ranked 83rd in the Rolex rankings and 39th in the race to CME. So obviously having a good season this year as well. Only 1 of 5 cuts made in the majors. Not a great look, but I'm with you. If you've only got 8 players auto locked up on your team with some rookies, I think there may be 1 rookie on there with Lottie. You don't want 4 more rookies coming on. So I'm with you here. I choose this player as well. It's the only obvious one. This is Leona Maguire. So you are 1 for 1 on matching Anna Nordquist. What else stands out to you?
We got a 20-year-old on here, excuse me, who hasn't made any of the cuts in the majors this year. 0 for 3. No top 40s in the past 5 events. Ranked 127. I'm going to say no on player G.
Okay.
Player B is intriguing. Ranked 71st in the CME. 4 out of 4 cuts in the majors. 12 out of 15 cuts made. 5 for 5 in the last 5 events and cuts. We're going, yes. Player B, welcome to the team.
Okay. Okay, so you've got 2 more spots. I'd say the only other major outlier on here in terms of what stands out to me on the age list, everyone is kind of between 23 and 26 with exception of player F is 34 years old. 34 years old and no Solheim Cups is interesting.
Yeah, right. I mean, unless she's got a lot of good, like a lot of goodwill, a lot of team chemistry that they want to bring. This is, probably one of her last few chances of making the team. I'm going to hold off on her real quick. I like player D, 4 out of 4 cuts made in the majors. 1 top 20 in the past 5 rounds. Made half the cuts this season with a top 10. We're going to go player D.
Okay.
Joining the fray. And then the last spot, I'm going to go player I, ranked 68th in the CME, made 12 out of 16 cuts, 3 out of 5 in the last 5 events. So that's going to be my list.
Tom, you just picked Leona Maguire, Julia Lopez Ramirez, Natasha Nadeau, and Pauline Ruchon Bouchard. In other words, you picked 3 of the same 4 that Anna did, the difference being she chose Mimi Rhodes. But this is all stats, right? And it's not everything. You made the comment like, hey, what if they're a good locker room personality? I wasn't really sure how to represent that in this chart, but it kind of shows you why stats aren't everything. Notably, Manon DeRoy was the person that was the 34 years old that has not yet made a team. That bottom one was Chiara Tamberlini. That's who we talked about earlier. They got nosed out by Esther. Again, she had no business being on the team statistically other than her LET ranking. So I think if you're rooting for Team Europe, the best thing happened with Esther nudging Chiara out because Esther was going to make it in on points anyway. So she nudged out someone who might have not been playing to the same level as the rest of their Solheim Cup peers. So there you go. That's your team. So if you want, we can see how Mimi Rhodes fares and if you should have subbed out for Pauline.
I love it. I got to find a game like that for you.
We mentioned it earlier. Those are the full team. Soup to nuts here is Charlie Hull, Esther Henseleit, Lottie Wode, Maya Stark, Celine Boudier, Carlota Saganda, Lynn Grant, Nana Kurtz-Madsen, Leona Maguire, Julia Lopez Ramirez, Nastasia Nadeau, and Mimi Rhodes. So by my count, there are 4 rookies on this team. Lottie is technically a rookie. Even though she seems like a vet at this point. And Julia Lopez Ramirez, Nadeau, and Rhodes are all going to be rookies as well. So a good spread for them to be able to test out some new talent. But again, Carlotta and Charlie are both playing in their 8th Solheim Cup.
Wow. I do like bringing some rookies on board to kind of, they'll be the flag bearers for seasons to come, hopefully. So always nice to have a few of them in there.
Absolutely. I think that's always the dream, is to always have 2 or 3 that deserve to be there. So that's your team. We're going to do a full Solheim Cup preview when we talk about how we think these teams are going to stack up. The U.S. team is not is not decided yet. They have until the end of the CPKC Canadian Open, which is in 2.5 weeks. So we have the Portland event and the Canada event for Coach Stanford to get. They like to go as late as possible to see how hot people are, whereas the European squad says, no, we want to get our team and start getting them to gel now.
I haven't made a decision which path I like more.
Yeah.
To sit on that, I'll probably give you my full thoughts on our Solheim Cup preview. But yeah, that's an interesting way of going about things for Team USA. I don't know how much I totally like that, but
so on that note, because we don't know the full U.S. team, this is the perfect time for you to do your blind picks now. Again, you won't have 2 more weeks of data that Coach Stanford will, but I'm going to give you the same task here. I'm going to show you some U.S. resumes. Again, it's 10 players as of the AIG Women's Open. As a reminder, Coach Stanford only gets 3 captain's picks. There will be 9 auto qualifiers, so you will be picking the top 3 you want. And I will tell you in advance, this is far harder than the European one, in my opinion, at least when you get to your final pick.
So the thing that stands out to me the most is that there is somebody with 7 Solheim Cup appearances already.
Okay.
She's ranked 122 in the CME, 134 in the Rolex. I feel like I should know who this is.
You should. You should also look at how many events they've played. Look at their season.
I was going to say, is that Lexi?
Yes, that is Lexi Thompson.
Yeah, I don't think I'm that interested in Lexi on the team. Age 19. Jeez. 2 out of 3 majors cuts, age 19. With a win. Okay. 4 out of 5 cuts made in the last 5 events. We're gonna go Jay to be the rookie flag bearer for
Wow. Going down the board, number 163 in the world.
You know what? But the CME, she's
why
doing well
don't
this
you
season.
go higher on the board before you get to her?
Yeah. I know. I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
4 out of 5 cuts made in majors this season. 2 Solheim Cup appearances already. We're gonna go player G.
Player G, for those of you listening, she's number 32 in the CME. Really good major performances, 2 top 20s, 8 of 11 cuts made, including 3 top 10s, and made cuts in 3 of their last 5. 31 years old, 2 Solheim Cups. Okay, who else is sticking out?
The number 64th ranked player in the world, 4 out of 5 cuts made in the majors, 11 out of 13 this season with 2 top 10s. On a heater, 5 out of 5 cuts made with 2 Solheim Cup appearances. Yes, player C, welcome to the team. Excellent. Okay, so now...
So you have 1 pick left. This is where I think it's really interesting.
Okay, so there is a few more players with some Solheim Cup experience. One that has four appearances in the Solheim Cup. 2 out of 5 cuts made this season, just inside the top 100 in the CMEs.
Before you make any decisions here, let me give you an idea of who we would expect to make the team on auto qualifier, so you know how many rookies are making it already.
Oh, sure.
So again, we're going to assume we already have 3 locks at this point. Nelly, Jen Kupcho, and Angel Yin are all locks. I would expect Austin Kim to be a rookie that gets in on points. And then I think you might have Andrea Lee, who is a vet. Lindy Duncan will also be a rookie. She's, I think, in the final spot right now. And Lauren Coughlin. So 2 rookies in the 9 autos. And what's interesting here compared to the European list is there's 2 people inside the top CME top 60 against this year that we were going pretty far down the list on the European side of the CME rankings. These seem to be better overall. USA players playing better this year than the bottom half of the European squad. So I think you've got some better options here.
Yeah, I mean, the 4 Solheim Cup appearances, 2 out of 5 cuts made in the majors. Player I seems destined for this team. I would like to see player J jump in. 10 out of 13 cuts made this season with a win in the last 5 weeks too. 2 out of 3 cuts made in the majors.
Yeah. So again, your rookie, your 19-year-old is ranked 163 in the world. So think about it this way. This is a rookie. So the only reason they're 163 in the world is they weren't playing a year ago.
Of course. Yeah.
So, but they're top 40 in this season's standings off of this season only as their body of work. And that's why they've only made 2 of 3 cuts in majors, because they weren't eligible for the other 2.
This is my Christian Leitner. I want some young blood on this team to carry the torch for years to come. This will not be her first, hopefully. I mean, this will be her first, hopefully not her only. We're going player J.
Tom, who is player J? Let's just
Yana
say
Wilson?
Yana Wilson. I wanted to see if you'd pick your own girl. So you just chose Allison Lee, Rose Zhang, and Yana Wilson as your three. That is my exact same three, Tom. That is exactly who I would pick. I think you were right. Allison and Rose are destined. They both have 2 Solheim Cups under their belt. Allison's playing really. Remember, Allison's ranking should be even better, but she was on maternity leave. So, I mean, she's a shoo-in. And some of this could jockey if some of them clip one of those final autos bids. I think the other interesting one here is, of all people, Ryan O'Toole. Again, 39 years old. She has 1 Solheim Cup from years ago. She's played really good golf. She's only missed 4 cuts all year, and she's ranked 63 in the CME, but not playing great her last 5 starts. And I think they're going to want to get some young blood in here. Lucy Lee was one of the people playing great day 1 and day 2 of the AIG, but then just imploded and had the triple bogey. And the one that I put at the bottom here, Lilia Vu. Lilia Vu, here's why I flag this. Lilia was on that Bernardus trip that they took pictures of on Instagram where they were all there. They did the team dinner and she was there. Lilia better not be on this team. She's a Bruin. I love her. So again, I'm not trying to throw shade at Lilia, but she's had horrible injury over the last year and a half, 2 years, really since winning the AIG at Walton Heath. She's ranked 188th in the world, barely cracking the top 90 in the CME, hasn't made a cut in a major, missed 10 of 16 cuts. Like, there's no resume there. And because they have so much depth from people who have played Solheim Cups, I really hope there's no one saying, oh yeah, Lilia is going to make this team, because I think everybody on this list, including Lexi, deserve to be more on that team than her. So I think she might have been there as a steward of some kind of help, but nice job. I liked your methods.
Oh, that was a fun game.
All right. Other notes before we wrap here. The 2 tournament pieces of news came out. First off, this was a few weeks ago, and we didn't cover this leading into the AIG, but the LPGA announced a new event at called the Nanea Cup, which is at Nanea Golf Club. This is one of the most exclusive golf clubs in the country in Hawaii, and it's going to be in March of next year. And this will be as they come back from the first Asian swing. So really nice, hey, on your way back, let's stop in Hawaii. But it is a mixed format where there will be 95 LPGA players and 25 college golfers from 5 schools. So again, 5 players from 5 schools. Those 5 schools being Stanford, Texas, UCLA, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. And here's the way that's going to work. They're going to play side by side, same tees, same everything. They're all in the same tournament. Everyone's going to play the first 2 rounds. The field is then going to be cut to the top 50 in ties in terms of competing for the title. The college players who don't make that cut will still compete on the 3rd round, which will be their final round on Saturday, to determine the team champion for college. So again, they'll do team scores for either your top 4 or 5 scores and how that compares to the other 4 schools. And those that made the cut will also play through Sunday as part of the individual stroke play competition, along with the LPGA players. The one caveat being they won't get the cash if they win, because they're still amateurs. So they get to play along. They're playing for an in-season college tournament as both an individual and a team, but they can also get to cut their teeth against the best in the world at one of the most exclusive clubs in the world.
Is this a first of its kind of tournament?
First of its kind. No one has even come close, other than maybe a few handful of exemptions for amateurs. No one's done anything like this. These have always been very mutually exclusive formats. It's a $4 million purse, which will make it one of the largest purses on tour. And I think the thing that stuck out to me the most is who sponsored this. Schwab, Dell, Salesforce, and Workday. Those are big time companies. And talk about investment in the LPGA. I love that it's not a no-name company. These are really big brands seeing value in women's sports, and in this case, specifically women's golf. So love seeing new stuff, love seeing exclusive places that we've never seen before on TV. There's never been a pro tournament at Nanea ever. The reason they're doing this is Stanford has long hosted a private college tournament at Nanea each year at the college level. So they're now taking what Coach Ann Walker has done with the Stanford team and worked with the LPGA to say, let's make this a combo where it's a showcase of the new young talent along with the 95 best in the world. So should be pretty fun viewing, especially in March where a lot of people are home and cold.
And that's a nice little stop on the way back from Asia too. You'll stop off in Hawaii for a bit.
Yeah, not too shabby. And then just this came out this morning, another event coming back after a long hiatus since 2009, the Classic, which is in Corning, New York. This event, again, hasn't been played since 2009. They announced their return today. It's part of a big corporate anniversary for them, and they wanted to come back after, 17 years of break. They want to bring this back. It was beloved in the New York community, and they are going to be bringing this back in the 2027 season. $5 million purse, which I believe makes it the largest purse outside of majors, maybe with the exception of Shadow Creek, that Vegas tournament you went to. I can't remember how big that was, but this is a big-time TV market with New York. This is a big time purse. And again, something that this sounds like a win all the way around. I'll be curious to see where they slot this in the schedule.
Yeah. Now all we need is the San Diego tournaments to come back and we'll be cooking with gas.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. So that's the tournament news. Then a couple weeks ago, I did a What's Up with Angel Yin stint. And I was happy to hear that she has said she will play the Solheim Cup. So she's obviously healthy enough that she's going to be planning to play in the Netherlands. It made me think about another player who has just, I know this is maybe a little bit too close to home for you because she's one of Tom's Titans. Minjee Lee, where did she go? I did a deep dive on her stats because I knew anecdotally she wasn't playing well, but I'm not sure I knew the depths of it. Tom, this is going into the year, she was the number 3 player in the world. Number 3. She's now number 13, which that's a big drop at that high of a leaderboard. Remember, she won a major last year. She's only made 5 of 11 cuts. She top 10 in her first 2 events, and since then, she's had 4 cuts, 2 withdraws, and nothing better than a tied for 28th. So she came out of the gates playing well, and again, one of those top 10s was a limited field, rain-shortened TOC to start the year. She's outside the top 60 in the race to the CME, so she would not make the final right now at Tiburon. And then I was like, okay, well, what's bad? Is she not putting well? Because she switched putters 2 years ago and it revolutionized her game because she went to the long putter. She is over 2 shots worse per round compared to 2025. So again, that's 8 shots a tournament worse than she was this time last year. And like diving deeper, is she just kind of worse everywhere? She's a full shot worse strokes gained tee to green. So, she's worse than field average off the tee. She is worse than field average in her iron game. She is actually slightly better this year chipping and in sand saves than she was a year ago. And then she is more than a half shot worse putting this year. So again, over a half shot per round, that's 2 strokes a tournament that she's worse just on the putting greens. So her game just looks like it's dipped everywhere.
That's a bummer. I mean,
totally.
I don't know much about her going into this podcast, but I kind of just like, oh yeah, she's a major winner. She's one of the best players, and yeah, I mean, this season she hasn't done much of note at all. The what's up with segment is kind of a bummer, but
yeah, it is
putting them on notice. I kind of like
it. It is. We won't always do this, but it's just someone that we expected big things from. That it's one thing to have a blip or a bad 3 months. This is a bad season, and it stinks because that Australian contingent is so good. She's not even the top ranked Australian anymore because Hannah has had such a good year. So, it just again, we had a year where Minjee won a major last year. Grace, another Australian, won last year. Hannah played really well the front half of this year. Like the Australians, they won the international crown, and then just kind of a major dip. Again, we mentioned earlier, Hannah had a bad major season. Minjee's had a bad major season. Grace has had an underwhelming major season. Steph Kiriakou hasn't really been too high on the leaderboard in a lot of these. So the Aussies have really good talent, but a rough 26 for them. So hoping they can turn on the Jets this last sprint to the CME.
Yeah.
We mentioned we've got quite a few interviews coming up. We just wrapped up with Maya Stark here. We should be releasing that in the next week or two, and have a few more coming down the pike here. So hopefully you all enjoyed the episode, and Tommy boy, play us out.
Yeah, if you have any suggestions for players or topics to discuss on this podcast, please send us an email to fringecoverage@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at FringeCoveragePod. And whether you're approaching from the fairway or the rough, we got you covered inside the fringe.